of the other situations is that the pedestrians and the bicyclists cross the street when the traffic is stopped. And it's coordinated so that it's not a random, and the cyclists don't change things. So I think Matthew will take over.
Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you. So, I used to live on Histon Road, and that's how I met Lillian. And Lillian asked me if I would take a look at junctions on Histon Road as far as Civil. And so I met Sean, I met Judith. We spent a lot of time analyzing these junctions, looking at the city deals plans, taking this workshop basically outside and having great discussions about it. And so when we came back, we realized that the city deals goals are, number one, walking priority, number two, cycling priority, and number three, public transport priority. And we agree with those goals. Those are very good goals, and especially in that order. And we realized that the junction design that they proposed, we could do a lot better. In fact, we could achieve all of those goals, but without the drastic restrictions that they had placed on the design. And also, part of what we want to do is create a place that's for people. We want to respect the context of the neighborhood and add trees where we can. And we want to make sure that the design is safe and fair for people walking and cycling. And I just want to back up to this slide and point out that this is on your sheet, and it does show the motor vehicle and cycle flows. And the big flows to take note of are, in the morning, coming south on Histon Road are 458 motor vehicles and 266 cycles. And that has to cross with the Victoria Road flow going east of 400 vehicles and 28 cycles. And under the city deal's proposal, that 400 vehicles have to find a different route completely. Because there will be no flow down Victoria Road at all. Okay. So to move on really quickly, how we got to this point. We looked at the original city deal plan. This is it. They have changed it a few times. In the original plan, they had a giveaway junction, but they realized, to their credit, that wouldn't work, and they modified it to a signal junction. This one blockades 3 different turns. We've talked a lot about Victoria and Histon, and Richard here just talked about how it blocks off all traffic going into Victoria Road. There are no formal crossings for pedestrians, and they did add some. And they added one, back. And there are unprotected cycle lanes. For example, where that bus is, that's a very dangerous left hook, and it is very possible that someone will be seriously injured if this plan is implemented. So what we decided to do is to fix those points one by one. We went back to a coordinated signalized junction to fix the existing problems with the traffic flow at this junction. No turns need to be blockaded, though we do understand that at peak time we have the flexibility of doing so if it turns out to be better for public transport. All the crossings here, we have now 2 crossings where before they had 0 and then 1. We need a crossing of Histon Road and of Victoria Road. Both of these crossings will occur automatically to ensure that people who are walking and cycling get this full priority that they deserve and the respect that they deserve. They will happen as part of the signal cycle. Cycling is taken completely off the carriageway, making it safe and protected, and conflicts are protected by signal cycles so that we don't have the situation where a bus could accidentally turn over somebody cycling or somebody walking. We want to completely avoid that. Yeah, so the cycle paths on this diagram are shown in pink, and the carriageway is in gray, and the pavements are in lighter gray. And then one of the things we realized while analyzing this junction is, while the city deal has talked about restructuring the geometry of the junction to give Histon Road priority, it's actually this geometry that gives Histon Road priority if you time the lights right. Because this way we can actually control the way Victoria Road flows and ensure that Histon Road always makes progress on every signal cycle. And that's what the signal diagram is designed to show. Now I know I have limited time, so I'll come back to this in a second. I just want to say our conclusions up front, which is we want to present this as a conceptual design, a vision for a new and innovative direction that the Greater Cambridge City Deal could adopt. And this meets the goals of 1. Number 1 is always walking priority, then followed by cycling priority, and then public transport priority. And we want to put forward a resolution that the officers will take forward the concepts and ideas shown in the Do Everything scheme and develop them into the next iteration of the official scheme. Because we recognize that we're only amateurs. We may have some technical training, but we're only amateurs, and we want the engineers to be the ones who actually do the hard work, the work of making this real, because that is their job and they are trained for it. But we want to give concepts and ideas. We want to show what we would like to see, basically, visually, and that's the best way we could think of doing it. And let me just go back real quick to answer questions before they're asked here. The way the flow diagrams are to be read is in a circle. It's a cycle. There's two junctions that are being controlled at the same in a coordinated fashion. So there's 4 diagrams, and the green shows the flow of vehicles. The slightly bluer green shows the flow of cycles. The arrows on the way show the direction. The red shows where vehicles are stopped and their approximate cues. And the feet, if you can see them, or red or green, shows where people are allowed to walk or have to wait, basically. And so I'm mindful of time, and I push through this. But I'm also going to come around, by the way, and we're going to come around and try and answer questions individually as well. So you'll get plenty of opportunity to ask me questions, and we can let them get back to their agenda if that's all right with everybody. Oh, you're showing on
Yeah, could you put the first big diagram back? I'll make some comments on safety. They aren't reflected in this proposal, but the comments I make, I hope, are taken in the context of any proposal that's taken forward. It's more generic than what is here. Neil provided me us with the survey data taken on 4th of June 2015 for the flows on this junction. On that day...
Sorry, can you put your mouse a little bit nearer above the mic here? It's not much, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll try better. On that day when the survey was taken, there were, this is not the total number of cycle journeys across this junction, but just under 2,200 cycle journeys across the original or the current junction that are at risk in the following way. The route that a cyclist takes either crosses a vehicle route or a vehicle route crosses the cycle route. There is contention for tarmac between cyclists and vehicles today, and in the current proposal, when you look at it in that light, there is no change to that figure, despite what might be thought. I looked at it in some detail. Unfortunately, there are cases where the risk is increased because of the geometry of what is happening, okay? Let's just leave that to one side. What happens today is that cyclists are on the carriageway. That's where the risk to life is, as well as accidents. This proposal, and I think any other proposal, might take note of. This proposal is that there are cycleways essentially around the perimeter of the junction. That's the fundamental difference. It takes cyclists off the shared space and puts them around the junction. I talked with a safety consultant. His statement was that the duty officer, which is believed to be the executive council, needs to sign off the safety case, and it needs to be compliant with HSE guidelines. And there's an acronym, ALAR. The risk should be mitigated so that it is as low as practically possible. You can't spend an infinite budget. The question is, how much can you do? The County Council publishes accident figures for this junction. There are 3 minor accidents with cyclists in the last 5 years. If you take a 20-year lifetime for this junction, it gives you approximate mitigation budget of the order of £500,000 in order to think about risk reduction for cyclists. The cost of putting in cycleways around the junction. I'm not a professional in the space. It would be for others to judge. But the basic HSE guidelines say that a budget should be allocated to be thinking about risk mitigation. Here is an approach that does that. In Matt's design, there are crossings which are both pedestrian and cycle around the essence of the junction. I think that's a summary of the points that we've been making. So please don't take it as specific to this, I think it's much more generic.
One more point that was raised before about congestion and trying to reduce congestion. And if you look at the diagrams you have, we'll come around and help. But the timing of the lights is such, because we've taken the stops back here, the fill-up isn't here. At the moment, the congestion arises here. By moving the yellow box back to here and timing the lights, you can clear the junction so that the flows are not impeded. And so that helps get the buses through. And so there's the reduction of damage. And which is the slide that shows the flow, just to illustrate one point for everybody. No, sorry, the flow. Streamlines, yeah. And just note again that on this one, you see the cyclists are stopped, and on the other one, you have a complete, which you'll see here. This is a cycle route that is not conflicting with anybody because you've got the stop signs there. And so at each of the crossings, there's a flow. We've analyzed in each of the 4 pictures the flow of the cyclist safety.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys.
So during this flow, in the diagram 2, oh, it's a cycle. Okay, so one of the nice things is that
Matt, if you, like you said, if you go around and you can explain to different people elements of it, and we'll let everyone progress with the workshop. Otherwise, we will run out of time for this evening, and we want to capture your feedback as much as possible.
Because this is new to everybody, we've had 4 weeks where we've been able to look at the do maximum plans, and I think this is so important that people are clear about how this works. I think that it needs time to explain.
I mean, that's fine. If Matt goes to each, if he goes to each of the tables, then he
very quickly.
But part of the sharing, I think, of it is highlighting, based on other people's experiences, the potential tools or benefits of these, type of things. And if we have a chat, it's great, that's an right for me. And I could at this table say, yes, this isn't appropriate because me as a cyclist in danger. But none of the other tables know that. And I noticed that from the workshop as well, that good points that we put on our sheet, I realized other people's recommendations, like the voices, they hadn't had a chance to consider fellow residents' opinions and experiences of it.
We have all 4 cycles.
I understand that.
I mean, everyone's got their own opinion. That's why we put you as groups to have those discussions. I mean, otherwise it's one giant table, and obviously you won't get a consensus, quite possibly. That's the difficulty. So,
keep in mind that when I there's different ways to do different elements of the scheme, but you don't have enough time for people to air those and discuss them.
what I would say is, in consideration of any alternative, please consider the objectives of the scheme and to be critical in terms of those presented. Are the proposals or alternative proposals, do they meet the objectives of the scheme? This is what the City Deal Board will look at ultimately when they're assessing whether a scheme goes ahead or not. Okay.
Probably just because this alternative has probably taken 30 or 40 hours of work between the 3 of us. At least amount of work. And I put it work. And yes, but it's probably a lot of work. So to sit down and say, the people at the table, we have between us engineering degrees, computer science degrees, we're mathematicians.
Yeah, so
are not pure amateurs. And to
So you've taken 30 hours.
In 2 hours in the evening, people are going to take a pen and sketch a whole new scheme and evaluate it against it. So it's fair to say that having any scheme.
I think, as you said, you've taken 30 to 40 hours to develop your scheme. The time we're taking up now means that anyone else who has other ideas are losing their time to put those on paper as to record, so ultimately all that's left is your idea, which isn't really fair. So I think let's kick off the scheme, have a look at the design that's put in front of you, have a look through. We'd really like to capture some other ideas that are also in the room. So I'm going to put down the microphone, and if people move on to the session.
Can I just ask, has anybody come with a different idea, or is the one that we are being told about the only alternative? Has anybody else got another one?
It's about looking at them and then talking in your groups and generating ideas today. That's what this session's about.
If nobody has alternatives, then isn't it a good idea to spend a lot of time on this plan that has been thought out?
In individual tables, we want to get going on our table so that we come up with the proposals that we want to put to the city deal board or wherever. That's what we want to do at this table. We want to get going.
I think it also stressed the importance of the experience we've had through Milton Road is that we've had an alternative proposal put forward there, and all the consideration has been about that alternative, and we haven't succeeded in getting feedback on the current proposals. We need feedback not only on our idea, this new idea, but also our ideas. Fine, you may want to spend some time looking at this alternative approach, but you also need to take the opportunity to provide some feedback on what's currently on the table. Because if you don't take that opportunity and that idea is taken forward, possibly by the board, then you'll have missed your opportunity to have a say on that. No, but I'm just saying, experience has shown through the Milton Road workshop, everybody was sucked into looking at an alternative on the table, and we got very little feedback on the proposals that the city deal had put forward. And we need well, you take your own view on that, but we don't know that because we didn't have any feedback from the feedback, maybe negative, but we still need it. So don't miss the opportunity to have your say.
I think we all appreciate the spirit of what you're trying to achieve, and you want some feedback. I think, certainly I don't feel it's realistic to do justice to the top. We understand where you're going. Can you give us a period after this meeting where we can be more organised on our presentation of issues? You want feedback on this? We can give you feedback on it, but you can give us 2 weeks to do it.
Tonight is just one of the workshops. Yeah. There'll be a whole series of meetings after Christmas when the LLF will be asked to formulate some resolutions. During that time, during the time between now and when those resolutions are formulated, if people have other feedback they want to give it, absolutely no problem at all. The LLF is there to receive feedback. Well, we're working on the timetable.
So January. So if we submit more organised thoughts of writing to you by the end of the year, that'll be fine.
know it's
I guess that's ability to manage flows, so control it, so adaptive, so ability to adaptable. So it's, I guess if you find that particular something else on the network, you might be able to adapt. Yes, the idea is eventually that they will see the other one is Alpha bridges, right? So they're currently operating at the moment. Sometimes, you press it and it will come around and it's like, other times are on demand and it's a single program. I don't believe it is reactive at the moment, but I will trust Jack.
It's going to be programmed to vary, not necessarily vary to evolve.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate it.
we'll come to the site. It's not the most that suggests
kinds of green